Hey, this is Will Knight. We are back with another podcast, and we are at SOUNDOFF. And our guest for today is Daryl. Daryl, introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me. Daryl Sneed. I am the owner, chief creative, CEO for SOUNDOFF.
So this is a great store. So tell our audience about the store.
So the idea of SOUNDOFF started in 2015.
Okay.
It started as an idea of how do we create graphic t-shirts for a 30 plus crowd.
Okay.
So Drew Ferguson, who is one of the original co-founders of SOUNDOFF, we were having dinner and we were like, we love graphic tees. There's not a lot of graphic tees that are out there that aren't a little juvenile or a little too young. So we were like, how do you make a t-shirt that makes a statement?
Yeah.
So that was the genesis of the idea. A third co-founder came in, Brett Grafton, as co-creative. The name came about during the whole 2015-16 election period.
Okay.
So it was Trump and Hillary Clinton and the eventually of the Women's March, and people were beginning to sound off. The term sound off was becoming much more prominent in media, and and it was a term of like, what's your point of view, what's your sound box. So I kind of glommed on that name. I was like, that's a great name because it is around projection. Yeah. It's around, it has the military connotation of being counted, your state that you're here. Yeah. But it's also when the sound is off, how do you communicate? So when you're not, audibly saying something, how do you project a statement?
Interesting, because I actually have several of your t-shirts, and now I believe you're doing vintage wear.
Yes.
Which is very interesting, because I've been doing some vintage shopping and doing a couple of podcasts on vintage, and now I'm kind of like almost into vintage.
Vintage is it is my personal style. Like, I love the heritage aspect. I love that so many of younger generations are grasping onto vintage and diving back into retro and mod and preppy and all the classic styles. And while SOUNDOFF kind of grew out of a more political, social climate, there's two tenets. There's statement, so we make a statement, but you also have to do it in style.
There you go.
So at the core of any brand, if you're a streetwear brand, luxury brand, whatever brand, you have to have good design.
That is true. That is so true.
So we are a fine balance between style and statement.
So tell me about, like, where are some of the concepts that you come up with? I mean, obviously this is three guys over dinner, and all of a sudden you have a store. Yeah. How long you been in business for?
So there's three phases, which I think everyone's going to probably understand why there's three phases. Pre-pandemic, we started as predominantly being an online brand. So the genesis was everyone's building online. Everyone was going to online. It was beginning to kind of be the thing. Like, create a t-shirt line and put it online, and everyone's going to go to it and find it. So we got on the roller coaster ride with that. Unfortunately, we got on the roller coaster ride just as it was beginning to kind of tail off, because that's when platforms like, at that time was Facebook and Google, were beginning to build the algorithm, and you had to pay into ads and social media to kind of get everything into the right feed. And it became not just a build it, they would come. It's like, build it and you're going to put a lot more money into paid ads or social media or this and the other. So, it became a very crowded space very quickly. Other brands were beginning to get into it, bigger brands were beginning to get into it. So while we started, it was still kind of a growing, small, kind of not so crowded a pool. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, there's a lot of players coming in here, and a lot of players with a lot bigger budgets.
Okay.
For marketing and paid ads and social. So we got our online situated, and we started doing a lot of pop-ups. So we were doing pop-ups, Sidetrack and other places, and we would do small events here in our studio.
Yeah.
And and people were like, "Oh, I would love to come and try on. I would love to, just have a place where I can see more of the product." And it piqued our interest of, well, maybe having a brick and mortar to have another outlet for revenue, but having a showroom, having something where people could come would be a great strategy. So we turned what was then our space, which was not the space it is right now at all. And we worked with the building. We got a door added to our space. So it was going to be the beginning of like, okay, we're going to have physical space. Well, then 2020 came. So that door that we finished,
the famous 2020.
That door we finished at the end of 2019 became a door that didn't open because the pandemic started in. So now not only were we challenged on online, we were also like, okay, now we're kind of locked out from being able to kind of do our next phase of strategy.
Yeah.
So the pandemic era obviously slowed everything, and what it did to the online shopping world was it blew it up in a good way because it turned everyone to online consumers.
Yeah, I bought a couple shirts online.
Yeah. For people who are like, I will never shop online. I don't want to put my credit card information out there. I'd rather go to the store.
They're already putting their credit card information out there.
Yeah, it gets out there. You might as well just go ahead and jump into that. And then your big box retailers, because they knew we still got to make numbers. We still got to sell. They grasped on online. Yeah. So now we're an even smaller fish. And an even bigger. Ocean that's getting more and more crowded.
Yeah.
So, and then, we came out of the pandemic, the two other founders, wanted to, venture to a couple other things. It was very hard to kind of see, where we could take SOUNDOFF. I was at a place, in my corporate career where I wanted to focus on something a little less corporate and build something. So I took on operating responsibility for the brand. So I became the operating founder, creative. I basically I'll muster and figure it out. I've done management consulting for a number of years, so we'll tap into that. So it became a SOUNDOFF 3.0 rebuild. And the store came out of a conversation with the chamber around a grant program. Actually, it's really not, I guess you can call it a grant program. It's small business incremental financing. It's a program through the city that particularly for areas like where we are in Edgewater that are growing, developing, and for businesses that are trying to rebuild facade, create more consumer facing opportunities, they would help finance up to 75-80% of the project. So I took initiative and said well, what if we reimagine this space, not solely as a retail space, but a studio. So it's my vision was I want it to be retail to the place where people can come in, they can shop, they can experience the brand. We can use it for where we ship out of, how we package. So I wanted to be able to amortize the full cost of it across all of our operation. So not just this is just a physical store space. Right. It's a brand space.
But you're also a designer as well.
I am also a designer as well. So I've designed it. I've done the production for it. I probably have put it on a shelf.
Yeah.
I pull it off a shelf. I put it in a package. I paint the shipping label and I throw it into
You do
the
everything.
PS. For today.
Today.
That will not be. This will not as our growth strategy.
Right.
But this is part of being an entrepreneur.
So tell me about some of the design and some of your work here.
So our aesthetic is I call it kind of a street tailored look. So obviously our roots is streetwear. It's t-shirts, hoodies, fleece, snapbacks, ball caps. So we started in the core of streetwear. My take is, how do you give it more of a not traditional street look? So how do you take it into a tailored environment? How do you kind of look at different fabrications? As I said earlier, I love vintage and heritage. So dialing back into preppy culture, the Argyles, the houndstooths, the plaids, the mod era, tweeds, all of it. It's that I always find the intersections to be like, if I can take, flowers and mix it with this and add our brand onto it, it what makes it different and distinct. The current direction of the brand has really kind of evolved over the last 2 years. Through random conversation that I got set up with through my friend Maria, I was introduced to Tanya Hallander, who is the Chief Marketing Officer with the Chicago Sky. And it was meant to be a conversation around another product direction I was going down, and it ended up being, I would love to try this for the Chicago Sky, and I'm like,
who are you to say no?
Who am I to say no? I'm like, women's basketball, of course. This is exactly where I was planning to go. I think the day after, as soon as I finished the call, I called my friend Julie, who's one of my graphic, people. I'm like, guess what we're gonna be learning about? Women's basketball, the Chicago Sky. So get excited. So that conversation led us into an entirely different pivot that has really shaped where we will grow from. After our first year working with the Sky, by happen chance, I built a partnership relationship with another company overseas, and they introduced me to, hey, what if we can introduce knitwear into your business category? And I took the concept and went to the Chicago Sky. It's like, hey, what if we can do knitwear for fans? So in their world of how do we see every fan? How do we build inclusivity? How do we see fans who want to celebrate their spirit this way? How do we create product around that? So I turned that product into that of how can we give fans who want to wear their Sky. I love to wear my Sky in very classic Argyle. I want to wear it in very much of this style. I want a small Sky versus a big Sky. So I took that foundation and built a very targeted solution. That first year, the end of that first season, so which would have been 24, at the end of the season, the last game, one of my clients brought over a colleague and connection, and she happened to be one of the associate athletic directors at Loyola. And she was like, I love this concept. What would you ever think about doing this at the college level? Because I would love to bring this to Loyola. Which again, I'm like, collegiate, I mean, that was next.
You're in the sports now. You're in the sports now.
I am all for it. Let's go for it. I had no idea how to even think about collegiate licensing and all how to do it all. And I went over to Loyola, had a meeting with them, and Tom, who leads in their athletic department, is like, we'll get you all the information you need to know on how to do it. So
come to class.
Come to class. I'm like, I'm going to put my going back to school hat on. I'm going back to college. And they gave me the 101 about collegiate licensing. They connected me with the organization, how we do it, and that became the first foray into college.
Okay.
Which, given what I was already doing with the Sky, was like, this is the world. I mean, you're talking like varsity knits.
Yeah.
Prep culture. I'm like, this is the style category.
Yeah,
I can own day in, day out.
Category style.
Category style.
Sound off.
I got this. This is my closet.
Right.
When people are like, who do you look at and admire? I'm like, you give me a Tom Brown, classic J. Crew, back in the days when I was going to school, Brooks Brothers, when Tom Brown designed Brooks Brothers and the whole Black Fleece collection. It's like, it is that culture that it was already driving what we were designing anyway.
Right.
So now I'm like, oh, well, now I'm going to bring it, full scale into collegiate. So, I developed a starting line at Loyola, went to a number of the games. It's definitely student attractive.
Hold on. You went to some of the games.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get invited.
Oh well,
So go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
It was very under the radar. Very under the radar.
Ticket for one.
Yeah. So we did our pop-ups. We were at we were at Gentile Arena. Doing pop-ups, it was a little bit of like, what is this? What is that? You can make your own. And, it always takes a little bit of time to build awareness.
Yeah.
And the students loved it, but, they're like, not in my budget.
Right.
But the parents were the ones who were like, okay, this I can get it to. It's not a t-shirt, it's not a hoodie, not quite, I have a t-shirt or hoodie, but, a lot of, parents, moms, dads were like, I can wear this to work. I can wear this to the golf course. It was finding that spirit wear, spirit merchandising, and what's trending now, and so what's growing now in sports merch is women. So that is one of the fastest growing category of consumers going into professional sport, watching professional sports. A lot of it because of WNBA and Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and all the people who are kind of coming in that space, which is also trending back into collegiate because they're now starting with these sports players in their collegiate careers. So now they're watching collegiate sports, but sports merchandising hasn't quite caught up to understanding the consumerism of women. And in general, just I would say, 30 and older category. So I found that wedge in there of, how can we create a spirit-based product that actually suited the lifestyle of your postgraduate person.
Yeah.
So that conversation resulted in a follow-on conversation with the chief marketing officer of the Chicago Sky, who she's like, well, we play in DePaul's arena, so I can introduce you to the person at DePaul. I met Lindsay DePaul, and I took over the Loyola collection, and she's like, day one, the same day, she's like, yeah, we're doing this. Did the licensing path for DePaul.
I just took a class at Loyola. Now I gotta have to take a class at DePaul.
So, but it's all under one big licensing company. So the one licensing org manages all those licensing. And so, so we got DePaul on the roster, so like, okay, great, we'll have DePaul for the fall. And then I had this now I'm like, well, we're in it to win it. So I need one football school. I wanted one Big Ten, because we're in Big Ten country. So I went back to my contact Loyola. Tom's like, well, talk to this person at the licensing corp. And that led into a conversation being introduced to Erica at Michigan State.
Okay.
Who
All right.
was, I love it, love the idea, let's give it a whirl.
Okay.
So now we're getting ready to, in October, turn on, I would say it is the first ever custom to order knitwear in collegiate space for Michigan State, DePaul, and Loyola.
Nice.
So that is the pivots. After, so technically, we're probably tapping into our 10th year, 9th, 10th year. But, if you look at it pre-pandemic, pandemic, and post-pandemic, each of those sectors have pivoted us. And it's kind of set us up for this phase of work. Now we have something that's scalable, because obviously we can, just spans in the collegiate space and the HBCU space. And it's also got enough legs for us to grow out of that into other categories also. So the style and the store and all of it kind of now gels together, and to a certain degree we've created our own little ocean. So until some other big ones figure out, but that's inevitable. You just gotta draw your line in the sand, and we've carved out our space,
and you did,
and we've defined a category. So we will always be the originator of the category.
So tell me about some of the product here.
So there's 3 main pieces of products in the studio. There's our in stock, which it's a lot of our legacy design and pieces. It ranges from T-shirts that celebrate the culture of bears, pigs, otters, and all that. It celebrates points of view. There's a series of things that we designed in 2020 from a collection we did called Through the Looking Glass. It was kind of based on the book, and the idea was, what side of the looking glass are we on? So there's some things that have a very kind of edge or touch into the kind of Alice in Wonderland series.
And you're also wearing a T-shirt. Reading is fundamental, hate should not be.
So this is a new category we developed this year, and it taps into two worlds. One, making a statement. So this obviously makes a very clear statement, very, very declarative, but it's also made on demand. In this, I would say, shifting environment, on-demand technology has grown so greatly, particularly since the pandemic era, and in entrepreneurs' brains of margin, reducing stock, inventory, but also in the how to best serve the customer, who inevitably, I would say before we started doing on demand, or even before the pandemic, someone would walk in going, "Oh, I love that T-shirt. I wish it wasn't on black. I have so many black T-shirts." So I'm like, well, now it's like, well, what color you want it on? You want it on blue? You want it on green? You want it on white? You want it long sleeve. So we still own the art and the statement and design. But we're leveraging on demand to suit the consumer, the customer who walks in, and we have found a lot of customers really like it because depending on size, depending on color, if we were doing traditional, and we still do some traditional run pieces. Our hats are traditional run, so we work with a very custom hat vendor, so we run our hats. And we'll run sometimes, particularly some hoodies, some things, because of the way we want it designed. We'll do some traditional. But we're trying to, blend in some on-demand designs that, one, gives us the ability to do rapid design. So some of the things you'll see, there's a new grouping we just launched. I kind of call it quick response design because we use QR codes in the design.
Okay.
So since QR codes,
yes, I did see that.
Are quick response codes.
Yeah.
We developed I developed, my friend Greg, who's one of my lead graphic people. He and I developed this design method to react to current things, and in the same instance, give people education or tools that they may need in quick response.
Okay.
So, for example, one of the T-shirts you'll see is called "Cold as Ice."
Yeah.
And it's a glass. There's ice cubes. It says "Cold as Ice" on top, and one of the ice cubes is a QR code. Well, that QR code links to the ACLU page on knowing your rights as an immigrant.
Okay.
So when ICE appears,
right.
here's your, here are the things you need to know.
Yeah.
So, or if you're somebody who wants to help people who I don't know what to do,
but I want to help. I want to help. Give assistance.
Well, now I'm wearing a T-shirt where you can give assistance.
Okay.
Those are done on demand.
Yeah.
So if someone's like, I will love it in black, I need it in a size medium, or I love it in the blue color in a size extra large. We can have those printed. They usually take about 7-10 days, and they're in hand.
Yeah.
So a lot of our product, we're moving to that direction. We have some in stock, and then the other is our knitwear business.
Yeah.
Which in this studio space, people can come in. I just did a knit just in the last week or two, and she was looking at patterns of like, I love the pattern on this blanket. I love the pattern on the pillow. I love this pattern. How many, we looked at the color chart, we put it together. She loved the short sleeve style. And 2 weeks later she picked it up and she's like, this is amazing. I've never had anything made for me.
Wow.
I can now walk around and people are like, where'd you get that? And it's like, well, it was made for me.
It was made for me.
Yeah. It's like, and so we call it's called our By You program because it's literally, so in our collegiate space, it's the Spartans by You, Ramblers by You, Blue Demons by You, because it's your style.
Yes.
So.
And you won't see 5,000 copies of it.
And you're not gonna see 5,000 copies of it. And you do see a copy of it, you're going like, yeah, I originated that.
Right. Exactly.
So I was the one who created this.
Or they say, oh, Daryl.
Yeah. Or in this instance, they may say like, yeah, he designed that for me. And so it's. It's a collaborative design process.
All right.
So
you have T-shirts, hoodies,
hoodies,
caps,
snapbacks.
Okay.
Fleet.
Bucket caps as well.
We're getting bucket caps.
Okay.
A little bit here. I'd say we're all waist above.
Okay.
So we have not to date yet. So there are some ideas on the roster of going below waist. Because I get a lot of people, they see, we when we do our mannequins in the windows, they're like, oh, those jeans are cool. Do you have those jeans? I'm like, no, I do not.
Right.
But I am contemplating, just doing some program to
a line of something.
Have tab bottoms on the bottom, but it'll be evolutionary.
There you go.
Yeah.
Blue or black? That's it.
Yeah. No, it won't be. I'm not trying to create, the next Macy's up in here. So it'll be very targeted. It'll be very focused. It'll be purposeful.
Okay. Now you also have sweaters and vest sweaters that are vintage that I saw.
So all the vintage is actually our design.
Oh, really?
So it's in some instances it can be based on something I've seen vintage.
Yeah.
And I'll tweak it, into our own design. But if it looks vintage, and mostly everything on that rack is something we created.
Okay.
In pattern or design or color. And I do love the whole vintage look. And I love the color of the vintage. Your mom's like, that olive apple green kitchen, with yellow and all this stuff. I'm like, that's the color palette I love. It brings back, I think that I personally believe that there is such a drawback to vintage I think there's some comfort in the past.
Yeah.
Everything has just gotten so fast and modern, and this that I think this like tie back to the past and design aesthetics from the past has some kind of comforting feeling and nostalgia. So I go all the way back into it.
Okay.
I'm like, give me an olive green and with a yellow.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we're going to wrap this up. So I have tell everybody what you're wearing. What you wearing?
Today.
Yeah, what you wearing?
Which is my daily uniform for the most part, unless I have to do something. So the Converse high top, which I probably have more Converse than I probably should in my closet, but they go with everything. I have custom Converse. I have made my own Converse sneakers. I have them in all styles. High top socks. And this is a lovely teal blue with white stripe.
Okay.
Because I love a high top sock.
Okay.
Pinstripe shorts. And this is a heather deep teal long sleeve tee with the reading is fundamental. Hate should not be on the front, and it is embroidered with our headphones.
Your SOUNDOFF
headphones
logo.
Yes. So which the headphones they're called Vibe.
Okay.
So because it's funny, people see in the studio, they see the headphones.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when they didn't know the brand, thought we were like a music studio.
Okay.
Or DJ, like we're in the DJs. And they wonder, how does the icon tie to the name?
Yeah.
And it's like, the icon is called Vibe because it's around your personal vibe. So when you're listening, when you see people on the train listening, you don't know if they're listening to rock, country, pop, or R&B, but it doesn't matter.
Or podcast.
So, but it doesn't matter. It's just like, so it represents the brand of like however you wear it.
Yeah.
So if you take our T-shirt and put it on with plaid pants and a polka dot hat, that's your vibe.
Yeah.
So we're not here to, say like you have to wear it absolutely this way.
All right.
We tried to capture your vibe.
All right. Now, last question, something for you to think about. If you had a piece of advice to give to someone to pass along, what would that piece of advice be?
Take all the pivots.
There you go. All right. Daryl Sneed, thank you very much. And this is Will Knight, and we're at Sound Off. See you guys next week.